Hey, thanks for tuning in today. This is S. Patrick Brooks from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. Today I've got Steve Howe from Outlaws of the Sun. We're going to reveal our top albums for 2024. So I don't know what else I need to say about that. Let's get to Steve Howe. Yeah. Hey, this is S. Patrick Brooks from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. Man, we are I'm awake. Steve's still awake. I got Steve Howe from Outlaws of the Sun. He's calling in from the UK. Steve, what city are you in? I'm sorry. It's Sheffield?
How you doing? No, it's not Sheffield. It's a place in the northeast of England called well, I'm based in Wallsend, Newcastle upon Tyne, which is
Oh,
home
sorry.
to which is
Well,
home
I
to
hope.
people like Sting from the Police, Brian Johnson from AC/DC, and a little known band called Venom
Yeah,
came
I've heard
from
of
here.
those guys.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
that's where
right,
I'm from.
man. Well, sorry for fucking up the city part. I'm
Oh, it's okay.
broadcasting. I'm broadcasting live from world famous Westminster, Colorado, a little suburb of Denver. But yeah, we were careful not to say Westminster. That drives me crazy. I know that probably drives you crazy too. All right, bud. Well, hey, man. So we got Steve here. Steve Howe has a blog called Outlaws of the Sun. I'm sure you're all very familiar with. Steve does great reviews, provides us with all kinds of amazing news from the heavy underground. This is the hardest working guy in show business, people. I think Steve's done like 200 reviews this year or some ridiculous amount of reviews. It's he knows everybody. He knows all the bands. It's great to work with him. And, Steve gave me my start doing this. So sorry, I know this is a little boring for some of you, but bear with me because Steve deserves all this credit, man. I wouldn't be doing this without Steve Howe in my life. So I really appreciate you, Steve, man. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about your top 5 albums of 2024. Man, narrowing this list down to top 5 was really difficult for me. Steve, how about you, buddy?
Thanks for bringing me on, Sean. Congrats on the recent success that you've had with the channel. I
Thank
mean,
you.
you're getting, providing bigger and better interviews, always insightful, always hilarious as well. I'm
Thanks,
happy
man.
to be here. I always like doing podcasts such as these. And it's the same one I've done in the past on Doomed and Stoned in the past, picking your favorite albums. It's always a hard choice. Uh, I mean, I've just narrowed my top 50, so that took a
So,
few months.
so tell me about you. Like before we get into the albums itself, like Steve, tell me, and I'll talk about my process if anybody cares. But what's your process for break? I mean, just getting down to top 50 is difficult. What do you have a particular process for getting choosing your top 5?
Well, obviously it's a year-long process from reviews. I'm normally putting the tags on the blog spot, album of the year contender, and I normally like narrow it down each month, every couple of months. Well, I'll put that in the top 10. I'll put that bottom 50. I can put that in top 20, top 30, and it's just every few months I switch things about. I mean, there's things in my final top 10 now in the bottom 40, but I now moved up because I've listened to more and more because you
Yeah.
forget about records. I mean, I would love to listen to them all and all again, but the top 5 are ones I really do listen to, every kind of week, a few times every couple of weeks or every month. And I've been doing like album of the year list for the last 15 years. Well, 15 years. So you get to a sort of process and you just do, whatever feels comfortable. Sometimes it's not always plain sailing because sometimes I do miss off bands that you forget about. And when you get bands, well, I thought you said this, you think, well, maybe next time. So it's not a perfect science, but I try my
I
best.
I
So
totally get that. Yeah, you know what? Hey, right, we'll just start off with this. If we forgot your band, we are going to apologize in
yeah,
advance because there's just so much good music this year. Like, just an overwhelming amount of good music. And some of my albums that made my top 5 did not make my number 1 Doom chart pick for the particular
yeah,
month. So it's interesting. Yeah, I've gone through a lot of the same stuff, Steve, listening to albums throughout the year and certain albums that maybe I didn't know would make my top 5. Maybe I didn't think about those right away. And some of the albums well, about 4 of these albums just slapped me in the face and was like, this is just great. And I do the same thing too. It's like your album didn't make my list if I don't listen to it every couple of weeks, and that's nothing against your album, guys. It's just simply it's a time thing. There's only so much time to listen to music, and I wish I could be awake for 28 hours a day and listen to all the great music. So, sorry about that, Steve. We talked just briefly before we jumped on, and there were a couple albums that I wanted to talk about before we got to our top five that were, I think one's kind of pretty special. Well, two of them are pretty special to us personally. And, that makes a difference on this scene. Like, you get to know people and you get to talk to the bands and you get to talk to fans, and it's really cool. So, Steve, I just wanted to bring this one up in particular because this was cool for both of us. This is the Freak Folk Mongrovia's album. It's a great album. It's called Tales from Beyond the Firmament. It's mostly instrumental. It's just really good. These guys are from, I believe, Croatia. Sorry if I'm fucking that up. But the cool thing is they put us on the hype sticker here, man. So
Yeah,
that's Outlaws of the Sun, and that's my quote from my review. And it's a massive honor for me, and I imagine you feel the same way, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, that was the review that I noticed it on Facebook, and I thought, well, that's a great review. I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't published elsewhere. I think, well, I was looking for new team members at the time, so I was going, I'll give it a shot. And he says, well, can I publish it? You said, yeah, fine, go ahead. And it was like a big kind of thing for the blog. It generated a lot of hits. And obviously, when you showed me on the hype sticker, that was great. So congrats on that one.
Yeah, but that was cool for both. Yeah, so yes, so I wrote that review of that album. My girlfriend had a doctor's appointment, and I had 2 hours to kill, and I was in a place where I couldn't smoke a bunch of weed. So I was like, "Well, hell, man, I really like this album." Igor Lukina sent me a pre-release copy of the album, and I didn't even realize it at the time, and I just loved it. And so I wrote a quick review, and Steve was like, "Hey, man, do you want to?" I was like, "Really?" So, man, it's been a life-changing thing for me to get on and be part of this scene. So thanks, bud. I really appreciate that much.
No problem,
Yeah.
man. My pleasure. I mean, it's great how far you came with it, with your reviews, with the Doom charts, and with your channel. It's just gotten better and better with each passing video.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. I hope it continues to get better. And
yeah,
hey, I am been some people who've given me some amazing constructive feedback, and you guys, if you're watching and you're like, dude, stop doing that, just let me know. And I just wanted to be more enjoyable for you to listen to. But Steve and I also have a deep appreciation for this album by Clean. Excursion.
Yeah.
It's like, Steve, why don't you talk? I'll let you talk about Excursion.
Clean Excursion, yeah, phenomenal album. But to be truthful, I didn't like it at first because I thought it was too lo-fi and scuzzy for my not too low. Well, a bit scuzzy, dirty for my taste. But I was probably having a shit day in London, working away. So I listened again on the train. It was a 3-hour train ride. I listened to it again. I just fell in love with it, and it brightened up my mood. It's a great album. It's in my top 20 list, which I'll publish sometime in the next week or so. But I mean that's just one of the main bands from the American doom stoner scene who have impressed the hell out of me this year, who like playing a similar kind of weedy and stoner sound but doing their own unique way. But you've got other bands that have done it so well. You've got like Calgon, Ape Vermin, Hastronaut, who have like taken the American heavy muscular sound and did their own thing. Thick riffs, down-tuned sounds, way psychedelic, crazy ideas, but all uniquely different. And those albums have made my top 50 album list as well. And it's just, and there's a lot of other bands as well, but those are my favorite highlights this year from the American scene.
That's awesome. There is a difference. Sorry, Steve.
No, you go on.
No, there is a difference between American doom and European doom.
Yeah.
Like if you're not into this scene, you probably couldn't tell the difference. But yeah, the difference between bands like Hastronaut and Clean, the new Trillion Ton Beryllium Ships is a good example as well. Is a lot different than Domcraft or Dozer or Truck Fighters, perhaps. But man, like they both bring such a good feel. It's like it's distinctively different, but yet so similar, right? Like, I don't know how to describe that. I just probably don't have like the musical knowledge to like to
Well, I
describe
mean,
that.
and personally, I think it's basically the European scene is probably more reliant on the fuzz aspect, when the American side is more on distortion and
Okay.
kind of
Yeah.
dirty seediness. That's my take on it, but everyone's got their own take. There's no
Sure.
right or wrong answer,
Of
but that's
course,
how
man.
I see it. But they're both brilliant sounds that we all love and know. That
For
that keeps us in business.
Yeah, well, Steve, I agree, man. Hey, I got one more album I want to bring up, and yeah, it's not really an album. It's a 7-inch release by a band who has been incredibly supportive of my channel, Steve, and I'm sure you have some conversations with Colin Peterson. This is Shadow Jupiter. Sorry, Shadow Jupiter. You can't really see it because I got this sticker in here. Sorry. Ooh, there we go. Shadow of Jupiter.
Great band.
Colin sent me this right before Ripple Fest. Shadow Jupiter's made big moves this year. I know they're recording some new material. I'm hoping that they're breaking into my top 5 or 10 next year with their new album. But Colin and Shadow Jupiter, John, I really appreciate what you guys have done for me this year. So thank you. And your 7-inch record is fucking badass, and your album's great, man. I can't wait to hear more from you guys. So,
Yeah, great
Steve,
band.
anybody else you want to like throw out there that's not in your top 5 but deserves a mention on our show?
Yeah, a band that I've been listening to recently, well, two, is the new album by Sundrifter. That was a phenomenal record. I mean, I keep saying, it's probably the best album that Queens of Stone Age never made. That's how I want
That's a great.
Queen. That's how I want Queens of Stone Age to sound today, in part, not the indie crap that they release now. And the other one is the new album by Low Flying Hawks. That's a phenomenal album. But there's loads of albums, you got like HUFR Mammoth and stuff like that. There's a whole ton of them.
Yeah,
Which
Bong
I can
Ripper's
think off the
album
top
was
of my head.
great.
So if I miss anyone out, you'll probably be covered in the top 50 list, which is coming out soon.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm going to stop talking about bands like that because I probably have 100 bands in my top 50. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm not very good at math. Probably that's how. Well, Bud, I think, with throwing the teasers out there, do you want to jump into the list? I can go first so you can have the final say, man.
It's how you want to play it. It's
Yeah,
your
let's do
show.
that because I want you to wrap it up with your pick.
Yeah.
Steve, yeah, especially, Outlaws of the Sun's going to be 10 years old this year.
Next year.
Steve
Yeah.
is I mean, man, if you're not following Outlaws of the Sun, just get on and do it right now. But anyway, without further ado, my number 5 album of 2024, super good hard rock album by Valley of the Sun called Quintessence. Man, these guys got fucked by the record company. They didn't get a vinyl out. Certainly no fault of their own. These guys were actually my first interview that I did for Steve. Ryan and Chris and Johnny, thank you for doing that. You guys made a brilliant album. When I talked to Ryan about it, he talked about songs being love letters to his wife. He has a deep knowledge of astrophysics that works its way into that album. But the thing that really strikes me about that album is just how hard rocking it is. My favorite song off it is "Holy Crap, I Didn't Write It Down." It's the only one I didn't write down. Shit. So while Steve does that, I'll look that up and I'll throw that back in there later. But Valley of the Sun, you guys, if rock radio was a real thing, we'd all be listening to Valley of the Sun. They'd be on your radio every fucking day. So that's my number 5. I just really love it. If you haven't checked out Quintessence, please do. So that's my number 5, Steve.
Cool. It's a great album. Great thing. I think I reviewed it for the blog. It's probably one of the best records they've done. It's a shame, how they got screwed over, and with the vinyl not happening. Well, being delayed and not happening.
Definitely. I wish these guys, this seems to me like a really, I mean, I'm not trying to make business connections here or anything, but this is like a Ripple band or a Small Stone band. These guys, I think, I hope somebody signs them. It would be nice if they didn't have to deal with the business end like this record bullshit on their own. So, yeah, man. So what do you got, a 5, bud?
Number 5, I've got Coming for the Storm by High on Fire. One of the titans of sludge metal, back after a 6-year absence since the last one. Just probably due to the COVID, fucking things up for a year. It was a great album from them, a little bit different, a little bit trippy with the Middle Eastern sounds and stuff like that, but still uniquely high on fire. Some great bass playing by Jeff Matz and Cody Willis, the new member on drums. Putting a more heavier metallic sound into the mix. Just a
So
great
good.
bunch of collection of tracks. I mean, I think my favorite track's probably the final track, which is Darker Fleece, just because it's like a 10-minute monster.
Oh,
So
that's the thing, man. I love those long songs too. Cody Willis, man. The last time I saw him drum, well, I saw Higher on Fire a couple months ago, but I saw him drum for the Melvins. That dude is a beast, man.
yeah, I've seen him drum for High and Fire, the Melvins, and Big Business.
Oh, you've seen Big Business? That's awesome, man.
Yeah, supporting Mastodon about a decade ago. Yeah,
That's
good
cool.
gig.
And High on Fire brings it. We're still trying to arrange. Hopefully, we get a conversation with those guys. Thank you for giving me a little bit insight there. We'll see what we can do
worries.
about that. Yeah, man. Yeah, I saw Cobra Noid open for those guys. That was a great show. So
Cobra Noid,
yeah, man. I think that's
a good band.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah.
And another band in my top 50 for sure. Well, bud, yeah. So far we got Quintessence by Valet the Sun. We got High on Fire's new album. Steve, at number 4, I have from Ripple Music, I have Luna Soul's new album, Vita Moore's. It's this kind of, and I think I'm on like a hard rock theme here, but this album is another album that just should be on your radio, if we still listen to the radio. There's a couple like hits here, Head in a Hole, Black Cat Calling. These are very you can sing along to these songs. The guitar's heavy and distorted, it's definitely a heavy underground album, but it's an accessible one. Like, my mom liked it. I mean, so there we go. It's like, so, I mean, it's probably Andrea's favorite album of the year. It's cool that they're from Denver, but honestly, that really didn't have anything to do with my picking. I haven't seen these guys live. I'm probably not going to see them until I see them in Vegas. But Dave Angstrom is a legend, and this album is certainly a testament to that legend. On another quick note, the vinyl presentation of this album came with a cool book. It's like the best vinyl presentation I got this year, in a year that I got some pretty cool albums. So, Luna Soul, congrats, you guys. Number 4, you guys could have easily been my number 1. So I appreciate what you guys did.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great album, good blend of, Appalachian rock music, as they proclaim it. Good classic stoner jams, hint of classic hard rock, great mix of psychedelics, and I mean, I'm great. It's glad you come on the vinyl presentation. I mean, you probably expect nothing less from Ripple Music, so
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the best labels, the label, the OG of the underground scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, great pick there. They're in my top 50 list as well, so
Right on, man.
representing them as well.
What do you got it for, Steve?
Number 4, I have a band. I've got an album called The Return of Tomorrow by a little-known upcoming stoner rock band by the name of Fu Manchu.
Yeah, I've heard of those guys.
I know. I think they're going to go a long way. I've heard they've been going for about 40 years, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I think Fu Manchu brought the thunder, the passion, the power of the early albums. I mean, they've never made a bad album, but I think this is up there with the best. It's one of the best records they've done in years, full of classic tunes, banger after banger. I just loved it. They say it's. I mean, they say it's a double album, but I was expecting like a 70-minute plus opus, but it's only on about 50 minutes. You've got like the heavy part, the mellow part, but even the mellow parts are heavy. So it's just one of the best produced records they've done in a long while. And probably my favorite track from that record is probably, oh Christ, it's a good pick. They're all great tracks. It's probably Loch Ness Wrecking Machine.
Yeah, that's just bad.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite because it's got such a mean, thumping riff. Bass heavy. It's great guitars and just killer vocals. It's a complete stoner rock package.
I love it too, man. Fu Manchu is as consistent as it gets. Like, to me, I can't, how can they be over 20 years old and still sound so fresh, you know? Like, and they're just like geniuses, man. I mean, Fu Manchu, I'm going to be honest though, I'm a little sad that you guys haven't made a trip to Denver in a long, long time. Please come to Denver. Yeah, I know I could travel, go see you. Maybe I'll have to do that. But yeah, Steve, that's a great pick. Like, undeniably, I think this album will be on a lot of people's, like, it'll be their number one album.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be the album, like the overall scene album of the year, man. It's, I could see that happening, you know?
Yeah,
great,
I do.
great
I mean,
choice.
I know a few people have ranked it number one, and which is a great choice, but
For sure.
sadly it didn't make it to me. I do apologise to all the Fu Manchu fans.
Well, I will also apologize because it didn't make my top 5. But you guys, like I said, there's like 50 albums I could have had an argument to get into my top 5. It's a brilliant album. You know, this is an album if you want to introduce your friends to the heavy underground. This is probably not a bad choice to suck people in. So cool, man. You got anything else? I don't know. I'm not sure. What label is Fu Manchu on? Why am that's
I think it
escaping
was
me?
released on their own.
Oh, okay. Ballsy.
I'll tell you in a sec. I'll just check.
Yeah, cool. Valley Sun did that too, by the way. So they released their own album.
Yes,
so.
they self-released it. Yes.
Oh, excellent, man. Well, they did a great job. Well, Bud,
it's
let's
on-
move. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, the album's on. I think it's at the Dojo Records.
Cool. All right, man. We'll be looking for some more stuff on that. There's a lot of stuff going on in the record company world, man. That's probably a whole nother episode. So, well, Steve, we're breaking into the top 3. So, man, this is really where it got freaking hard for me, man.
Yeah.
Like, these top 3 albums probably changed places several times over the last week. This album could, once again, easily have been my number 1 album. Heavy Temple's Garden of Heathens. Man, High Princess Nighthawk's voice, like, really has that Detroit Cobras, Rachel Nagy kind of feel to me. Is very sultry and I don't know, I'm terrible at describing things like that, but it's like the vocals raise Heavy Temple up another notch, as far as I'm concerned, to an already amazing stoner rock band. The guitar playing is fantastic. The bass playing is next level for this genre, as far as I'm concerned. The bass playing really drives these songs, which is incredible considering High Priestess Nighthawk is singing while she's doing it. Super impressed with the drumming, is badass. But what I like best about Heavy Temple is the song construction. These guys like easily move from one subgenre of the heavy underground to another, from stoner to doom to more traditional blues-driven rock. Saw them live, brilliant live, but that's not what we're talking about. This album is solid. Every single song's a banger. I had to pick a favorite one. I picked Divine Indiscretion, but once again, this is like, put it on, don't take it off till it's over. I think Heavy Temple really went next level here, and I'm super excited to see what they're going to do next. So congrats, Heavy Temple. Number 3, you guys kick ass.
Yeah, probably the best record they've done. Blew my mind. I was a little bit late reviewing it. I think I reviewed it 2 months after it came out, but I think I redeemed myself with the review. I hope. But yeah, it was a killer collection. Thank you. It was a killer collection of different tunes. You know, cult rock, space rock, gothic, doom, Americana. It just had pretty much everything. You know, and I think they're going to go into bigger and better things. You know, within the next few years. So
I agree. I really see this band. Like Fu Manchu is like at that one. You know, like there's just like a small separation between the scene, and then there's those bands that are just like Fu Manchu or the Melvins or someone like, you know, those bands. I definitely see Heavy Temple moving into that category. They're too good to stop, man.
True original of their own making, you know, especially on that album.
Yeah.
It's vocals as well.
So good. Well, Bud, what did you have at 3?
Number 3, I have the collaborator album between Elephant Tree and Lowrider, the Long Forever. I never thought a collaborative album would be like album the year material, because I mean I've reviewed collaboration albums before, but they've never made album of the year material. But I mean, was so groundbreaking in so many ways. The band released, releasing the first new material in over 4 years, and it's such a stunning collection. And also when they team up together on their own songs twice, you're just thinking mind blowing. It's a great. I mean, you've got like Elephant Tree performing like industrial kind of sounds,
Mm-hmm.
which you don't expect, and you've got Lowrider going at the more doom metal orientated, but still keeping the classic desert stoner rock sound. It's just such a great album, and I think it's probably the. I mean, I'm not going to admit. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's probably the best
Yeah.
collaborated album I've heard in a long,
It's
probably ever.
It's my favorite one, definitely since Domcraft and Slowmatics had a
Yeah.
split. But I don't have anything to add to that. It's fucking brilliant.
It's amazing.
It slipped right outside of my top 5, but it's constantly on my turntable. It's like I wasn't as familiar with Lowrider as I was with Elephant Tree. And now I am a huge Lowrider fan. I mean, wow, it's like, I'd heard them before, but I hadn't really like taken a deep dive, and I have now, and it's like, they're one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, they released, where Lowrider, they released the Samuel Davy album back in, was it 99, and they didn't release the second album until 21 years later, and that was before COVID struck.
Yeah.
Similar kind of, not the 21-year absence, but similar story. Elephant Tree, they released their last album at the start of COVID, and it was just like, it was great to get new material from both bands, because I'm a huge fan of both bands, and they delivered the A game on this. I mean, if I have to pick a favourite track, it'll have to be Elephant Tree's Fucked in the Head, because it's so it's so different to what Elephant Tree done, but keeping with the whole tone of the album. And on the Lowrider side, I'll probably have to go in with Into the Grey. So it's 2 great tracks.
Yeah, man. Like that, I want to go like put it on right now.
I was listening before.
That's great. You guys, like, that's the thing about this scene. It's like it's just like so deep, Like, that album not making my top 5 makes me like sick to my stomach until I look at the rest of my top 5 and was like, what was I supposed to do? So yeah, that's a great choice. Steve, we talked about the Fu Manchu album. I think this split will be on a lot of people's number one.
Yeah.
It'll be in a lot of people's number one choice.
Yeah, I think it will.
Like you said, the strength of both of those bands on one record, and then the collaborations just really set it apart, right?
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
I'm hoping for new albums by them, hopefully next year. But that's my biggest way.
Did you get a chance to go see Elephant Tree recently?
I was supposed to go, but my dad got COVID, so I had to look after him.
Sorry, man. Well, you'll probably have a better chance of seeing him than I will. I've
seen them twice before. I've seen them twice before. I met a couple of guys last year when I went to see the Slowmatics Domcraft gig in London. And I saw them in 2016 first when they supported Mars Red Sky. So I've seen them. Yeah, great band.
Here's a call out to John Gist. Hey, John Gist.
Hey, Ryan. Yeah.
Hey, Ryan Gurney. Hey, Ryan Gurney. Yeah. Could you bring these guys over, man? Ripple Fest or Planet Doesn't Rock? I mean, just as a special favor to me. I know you don't owe me anything, but fuck, man, I know.
He's bringing over the band I've got for my next choice over to his festival next month. So
let's just roll. Well, then, you know what, Steve? Let's skip my turn and let's roll right into your next choice, and let's talk about that band right now.
Right, my next choice is number 2 for this list, but Sean already knows it, but it's a joint number 1 thing. But to keep it simple, it's number 2 on this list, but it'll be joint number 1 on the 50 pills. Is a brilliant band who should be more. I can't believe that they're not more well known, because they're being releasing classic album after classic album. It's the same with the new one. It's The Ghost of Bad on Hill by Sergeant Thunderhoof, who once again just prove why they're probably one of the best storytelling bands in the UK stoner rock scene. It's an emotionally charged album based on their local, based on their local town's history and folklore, which they've done time and time again. It's got beautiful lyrics, heartfelt vocals. It's just a complete package.
It's
And it just builds on upon the last record, the Escaped in Veil, which was my favourite album in 2022. So they've got form of releasing favourite albums of mine, and they've done it again.
Steve, when I heard this album, my first thought was, of all the albums I've listened to this year, this is the album I'm most likely to be listening to 20 years from now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a classic. It is a classic. I think the depth of writing, what you talked about, really sets Sergeant Thunderhoof's in it, moving to the next level as well. Sorry, one sec.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you mentioned John Gist before. It's great that John Gist is bringing them over to
Planet Desert Rock Weekend.
Desert Rock, yeah. Yeah,
but I've got tickets. I'm going. I can't fucking
Oh
wait,
yeah,
man.
I mean, I hope you get a lot of interviews planned, or maybe some streams.
Maybe a few. Dude, you know what? Like when I went to Ripplefest, I thought about doing a lot of that stuff, and then the show started, and it was like, man, I just want to be a fan.
Yeah, you just want to rock out. I've had plans to do that, but I've cancelled last night. No, fuck this. I need to rock out. Plus, I'm too drunk.
Well, I might be a little too high myself, Steve.
But I mean, hopefully, Sergeant Thunderhoof will get some more US gigs.
I will definitely be talking to these guys. Even if it's just, hey, thanks for coming over. I got to meet these guys. Right on, cool.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, the lead vocalist, he's a lovely guy. They're all a bunch of lovely guys, and they've just released classic album after classic album, and I just don't know how they do it. But that's my second choice. So I'll let you pick your second choice.
I'm going to hit that in just a second. But we have bands in the scene that are making classic albums that I think it might be like a lot of art. It might not be appreciated in its time, but I think eventually it will be appreciated for the brilliance that it's bringing to the table. I mean, and Sergeant Thunderhoof is just an amazing example of that, man. With the album was a little. Well, you know what? Let's just move on. I'm going to talk about my number 2 album, but I think that's a fantastic choice, and I'm super stoked to see it. But my number 2 choice on Small Stone Records, man, I got Free Ride, Acido Yaputo. You can translate that yourself. This album fucking is great, man. Talking about Fu Manchu or maybe our early Nebula. Man, when I put this album on, it was like time travel for me. It was like right back to when I first got into stoner rock, and my first stoner rock band that I was really into was Fu Manchu. And this album has a lot of that, Costa Mesa kind of feel, I mean, the songs are gritty, but they're still fun, like I feel like I'm on the beach when I'm listening to this album. Maybe I should be surfing, or like that, the Dune Buggy cover of the food. It's like those kind of vibes. And Free Ride did a great job choosing their album art. It really fits the album. It's well produced. I love every song. So I work in a dispensary in Denver, and so the music is pretty, we can play what we want. And when I put on this album, the kids who are all into electronic dance music or into hip hop, and they were like, "What the fuck is this?" I was like, "That's right, there's rock music." And they really liked it, and I think that's a real credit to Free Ride, man. They made a serious stoner rock album that's still accessible. I think that's kind of a theme of a lot of my list. I love the song. I wrote it down here. Cosmic Swell. It's an instrumental. It really gave me those Earthless, Harsh Toe Split vibes. I love Earthless, and I think there was some of that spacey, atmospheric kind of things going on there. And then they come back with just really good hard rock songs with great lyrics. Anyway, man, if you haven't checked out Free Ride's album, you're crazy. Go check it out, man. It's really good. It once again could have easily been my number 1.
Yeah, I agree with every word you say. I don't know what more I can add to that. It's, I love the delicate style. I mean, the different styles of 70s groove-orientated rock or the 90s desert stoner rock. And like you say, it touches upon areas of like Fu Manchu, Nebula. In some cases, some of the Brant Bjork kind of influences, like Brant Bjork and the Bros and a lot of his solo stuff. It is an accessible stoner rock album, and it's just it just offers you a good damn time, There's no pretenses. It just gets straight to the point of just rocking out. So great choice.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I dig it, man. Free Ride, fucking great choice. Small Stone put out some really good albums this year. Black Elephant's album was another one that I really loved, and I've been following those guys for a while. I think my first Small Stone experience was Low Pan album, El Salvador, and man, they're like Ripple, They just keep cranking out, great band after great band, and great album after great album. So thanks, guys, man. So Steve, what you got, buddy?
Well, for my number one pick or joint number one pick is it's a UK doom sludge drone psychedelic stoner band by the name of Old Horntooth, and their new album Morning Light. It's just 4 slabs of heavy, down-tuned, fuzzed up drone sludge doom psychedelic weirdness, put through a distorted amplifier through prog metal. Because the shortest track on the album is 14 minutes, and the longest track is 21 minutes. So they play long, extended jams, and that's my bag. And it's quite gloomy in parts, or for most parts, and it's full of riffs. If you love bands like Sleep, HUFR Mammoth, Sono kind of aspect, yeah, you're going to love this one.
All right. Well, I'm going to admit right now that I am not very familiar with this album. I think I've given it one spin. I feel sorry. My apologies to Old Horntooth. I'll get there. I think once again, it's a testament to how much great music there's available in our scene. That Steve's number one album is something that's not even on my radar. You could trust Steve though. I can't wait to go listen to this album. So man, I don't want to like dilute your pick with my bullshit. So, but great pick. I'm super excited about it. My number one album, man. I'm a fucking huge fan of Warped Vision by Cyclona.
Yeah,
I fucking love this album, man. Like I talked about the accessibility and like playing Free Ride in my shop the other day. I played the Cyclona album last night, and I got all kinds of cool comments. Like it reminds me a little. There's some tracks on it that remind me a little of post Roger Waters Pink Floyd. But with obviously a heavier hand, thankfully. Man, my favorite song is Jasmine. It's my favorite song of the year. I will never forget the first time I'm sitting in my garage and I'm smoking a joint. I put this album on and it's like, oh, what is fucking happening? It's just well produced. It's smooth. It's hard. It's heavy. It's smart. It's a great album. This is another one, man. Play it for your friends that don't know anything about the heavy underground. They're gonna like this album. I think I don't need everything to be accessible. I love me some Bong Ripper too, but man, this album it's just I play it every day. Like I freaking love it, man. So Cyclona, you guys are on Magnetic Eye record, 2 Magnetic Eye records on my top 5. Great job, man. Your back catalog's amazing. You guys just keep getting better and better. I can't wait for your next effort. I hope it doesn't take too long. I'm sorry to be so greedy. I also hope you guys make it over to the United States. I'd love to see you guys.
Well, I mean, great choice. I mean, Cyclona did play the United States a while back. I think they played Psycho Las Vegas. I could be wrong on that, but
I think I was deep in my alcoholism during that one, Steve. No,
right.
I mean, they may not have been. Nothing was on my radar except, but I hope I get to see it, man. I'd love to come out there and see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Cyclona are a great band. I mean, I got to know them when a good friend of mine released the first 2 albums on his own record label. Who used to be a writer for Outlaws of the Sun.
Well, give that guy a shout out.
Neil Fuzz. He used to run a label called Cursed Tongue Records, and he released the first 2 albums by Cyclona. So that's how I got to discover them. But I mean, ever since the days from I think it was Mojo Rising as the debut album. Yeah, Mojo Rising. But I mean, with the new album, I was kind of afraid because obviously they've changed they've had a change in ranks recently, and I just thought the magic wouldn't be there, but I didn't.
It's there.
I didn't need to have to worry because it was a different sound in Cyclona, but still Cyclona. It's a brilliant album. I may still prefer the last album to this one, but they're both great albums in their own right. To be fair, I have been listening to What Vision Time more and more recently, and I'm just loving it. If you want me to pick a track off the new album, it'll probably have to be. Ooh, that's a good part.
I know it's not easy.
It'll probably have to be Kaleidoscope.
Oh yeah, right on, man.
Yeah,
but that's so let's recap, Steve. Thanks, man. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for being here, bud. I really appreciate your time,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
Yeah, bud. Let's so just run down your top 5 again really quick so people have a chance. They're jotting things down. I'll print it too. Like when I release this, I'll print both of our top 5.
Number 5 is High and Fire, Cometh the Storm. Number 4 is Fu Manchu, The Return Tomorrow. Number 3 is Elephant Tree, Lowrider, The Log Forever. Number 2 is Sergeant Thunderhoof, The Ghost of Bad on Hill. And number 1 is Old Horntooth, Morning Light, with the first 2 being joint.
Dude, what a year.
Just to confuse people. You can run down yours, sir.
Yeah, but I will. I'll recap them. At number 5, I had Quintessence by Valley of the Sun. At number 4, I had Vita Moors by Luna Soul. At number 3, I had Garden of Heathens by Heavy Temple. At number 2, I had Acido Yaputo by Free Ride. And then at number 1, I had Cyclona's Warped Vision. Man, dude, let's celebrate the scene, bud. Like, that's 10. Our top 5 list, we don't have any overlap.
No.
There are 10 great albums. We could easily name probably 10 more each that could easily fit into this list. I want to thank the musicians out there for doing what you guys do, the record companies for making it possible, and technology for making it possible for those bands that aren't on labels still get us albums out, man. Thanks for doing what you guys do. My life is better because of the scene, man. What do you got anything you want to wrap up with, Steve? Or, hey, really quick before Steve's fucking follow Outlaws of the Sun, man. You're going to stay on top of shit if you do. Steve does a fantastic job with his blog. He's on Facebook, his website. So we'll put the links in the YouTube video thing. And but anyway, Steve, sorry to interrupt, but what are your final thoughts of 2024?
2024, I mean, thanks for the huge shout out, Sean. It means a lot. It really does. I always love doing these kind of things. I want to thank the bands, the labels, PR reps, most important, the viewers who come and read my dodgy reviews, thinkings, and misgivings on albums. It always means a lot. I mean, it's coming up to 10 years for me next year for Outlaws of the Sun. Didn't expect me part 1, but yeah, I mean, it keeps me sane. Probably by the number of articles I've done this year, which is standing at 725 at the moment, which is probably my most busiest year. Yeah,
dude, you're amazing. So really quick, Steve, how do you do that? Like for me, putting together maybe 1 or 2 shows a week, just it's just brutal, man. With a full-time job and stuff, dude, you have a way more technically involved job than I do. How do you do it, man? What do you do? What's your time management secret?
Well, I mean, I do. I try. I mean, I do it in my. I mean, I don't do it 100%. I don't do it 100%. I'm all consumed by it. I do a couple of things in the morning before I start work. I do review it in my lunch break, and I do write notes in the night time, or I make mental notes when I'm walking home or walking into work in the morning at night. So I normally leave the house at 5:20 in the morning. It takes about an hour to get into work. So I'm walking,
That's
and it's
cool.
just me. just making
Wait,
notes.
sorry, I'm an American, so this just freaked me. Do you walk to work and it takes you an hour?
Yeah,
That's
3.5 mile.
Man, we are so
Uh,
fucking lazy people.
no,
All right,
I mean
that's amazing, dude. That's awesome. That's cool.
it keeps us mentally grounded, because
Yeah,
if I
that's
didn't have the
cool.
blog, I'd probably go insane. My mood will probably turn. I wouldn't say darker, but I've had moments of depression in my life.
Same.
It's happened in 2019 and 2020 when I quit the blog for a few months just to get my
Yeah.
bearings back. But ever since then, I mean, the blog it's therapeutic. I get to listen to a load of kick-ass music.
Right.
Uh, I mean, before I started the blog, I used to like all the heavy metal shit, death, grind, thrash, extreme, that kind of thing. But I mean, I do like that stuff. I just don't listen
Mhm.
as much as I should. Where I can listen to a doom, slow stoner record, I'm happy. I can pick an album on my player, I can do random. Yeah, I know the riff, and that's what I want. But this year's been phenomenal. There's been a load of great bands. I'm looking forward to next year. I've heard a few cool albums already for next year. I've even written
Me,
3 reviews. 4 reviews of albums being released next. Well, they're getting released next month, but I've written the reviews.
right. Yeah,
Uh,
man. I appreciate that. Thank you. You really helped me stay on top of stuff, Steve. Thank you.
no worries. Thank you for for the reviews that you did in earlier this year. You did such a quick pace. It was hard to keep up with that. Like, you just don't
It,
want.
yeah, man,
You
I
put
love
me
the
out in
writing.
there.
I love the writing, but between people like you and Jacob Baker and Mr. Fraser out there, Fraser Jones, like JJ, there are like
Yeah,
so many good writers on the
yeah.
scene, and I really felt like maybe my contribution would be better
I,
doing interviews, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I miss the writing sometimes, but I only have so many hours in the day. I know
I
you can
think
relate.
I think this is the perfect fit for you, as the videos, the
Thank you.
interviews, because I think, not saying your writing's great, but I think you're a better fit. I think you're probably more happier, creatively speaking, doing this.
I think
And
so.
you've
It's
got
working.
you've had some great interviews, with people like,
Like
that.
Steve Howe.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
second time this year. And I did like the one you did with the right. Was it Sunil Singh as well?
Yeah,
That
Sunil,
was great.
his book. Yeah, his
Scott.
book is awesome. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
thank you.
I haven't read it, but my
You'll
pal
love
over
it.
for another site, he loves it. It's one of his favorite metal books this year. So
Yeah, he'll love
he,
it.
yeah, so I'm gonna try and track down a copy.
Right
Uh,
on. Cool, man. We'll make
but
sure you get one. We can make
cheers,
that
and
happen
I
for you,
love
buddy.
your interviews you've done recently. I know
Thank you.
your deep stoke and passion for the band Clean.
I
Uh,
love Clean. Patrick Newman. You're a great guy. The rest of the band, sorry, I'm gonna fuck up your names if I try to like shout them out, but you guys are so cool. And Steve, like Clean's a perfect example of band accessibility at our
yeah,
scene. And the guys are cool. And I've never had an experience with a band being a dick.
no,
It's awesome. It's a testament to our scene and the music. But hey, bud, I gotta unfortunately go sell a bunch of well, we won't talk about it internationally, but I gotta go to work. So
I'm off this week, so I'm enjoying my
dude, you
time
enjoy
off.
your week, man. I am totally looking forward to more collaborating in 2025.
Yeah,
We'll definitely do a
definitely.
few more shows together.
Yeah,
If I
definitely.
get my shit together, I'd love to write a couple more reviews for you.
The door's always open. I
But
don't
and
do
the doors,
timelines. It's
dude, the
always
door's
open.
always open here too, man. If you ever
Cheers,
need to
man.
jump on and do a video, but I'd be happy to host anything that you'd like to
Yeah,
talk
great.
about.
I was thinking about doing that, so I might hit you up on that behind the
Fuck yeah, let's
scenes.
do it. Let's do it for sure, man. Hey, if you hate the Heavy Underground Farm Report, blame this guy. He's the reason I'm here. Um, I appreciate you, Steve, man. Hey, I'm gonna give. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. If you're not watching live, I hope you check it out. Dead. Um, is that the right way to put that? I don't know. Hey, I'm going to have this up on my YouTube channel too. We'll add some clips from songs. We'll add some graphics and hopefully some links where you guys can pick up the albums that we talked about today. But Steve, once again, thank you very much for being here, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thanks for the opportunity, mate. Much
Hell yeah,
appreciated. Had
buddy.
a blast.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, Steve, we'll talk soon, buddy. If you'll hang on, I want to talk to you for just a minute after we
Yep.
let go. But you guys, thanks for tuning in. If you did, if you didn't, thanks for watching later because I know you're going to watch. All right, y'all. Have a great day, man. Thank you, guys. I think we're. Yeah!